What up?
Hello!
Missing Reels.
Episode 2!
Attack of the Clones.
It's time!
Yeah.
I'm Tim May.
I'm Dabeedo.
And yeah, well, thank you all for the 3 or 4 of you who listened to the first episode for coming back.
Yeah, thank you.
That's nice. Anyway, so the first episode, we put it out a couple days ago. I know we mentioned in the first episode that we're going to record 2. That didn't happen.
That never happened. I remember I was at Salvation Army. Tim calls me. And, I could not understand a single thing he was saying.
Well, it's because my cell phone
It sounded like he was literally in a wind tunnel, and he was like...
I was on State Street, walking downtown.
He's like, I'm walking somewhere, I can't do it today.
I didn't sound whiny remotely. Anyway, that doesn't matter. No one cares.
So, yeah.
As you're gonna still get this episode when we told you you'd get it, so I don't see why this matters to you.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the first episode came out, and a couple people have listened so far, and they've given me some feedback.
Oh yeah, you want to read that feedback?
Well, I don't have it it's not written.
Oh my god, you should have pulled out a piece of paper and crumpled it, so to just suspend imagination, theater of the mind.
Okay, we're not a morning zoo talk show. Regardless, you've never even listened to Howard Stern. How do you even care about sound effects?
I listen to radio shows.
Okay. Yeah. Anyway, but we heard from one listener. They were worried about spoilers in the Hard Day's Night review, and I was like, I don't think you're going to hear any because it's basically unspoilable.
Yeah.
We do outline one of the last jokes in the movie, and that's all I told him. Because I don't think it matters, but I guess you guys should know that we're going to discuss the whole movie, and if we need to, we're going to spoil it.
And it's not like we're watching some new,
These are movies you can see, and I'm telling you at the end of the episodes what the next one is, so you have 2 weeks to watch it, and if you don't watch it in time, then you can wait and download it later.
Just not listen to it, yeah.
It's not, so yeah, we do discuss spoilers, because that's... What other way is there to really talk about movies in any interesting way?
And I mean, and also, say, oh, I want to watch A Hard Day's Night. I want to do some internet research prior. Of course you're going to get spoilers. I have,
Also, what is
just
there to spoil?
The movie.
There's no plot.
There's no plot.
It's literally just the Beatles hanging out and playing songs and having fun. There's nothing to spoil. Believe me, you will enjoy it, whether you know everything that happens or not.
Right, exactly.
Because the plot is... The Beatles are on their way to a show. They take a really long time to get there. End of plot. Spoiled. I spoiled it for you.
Spoiled the whole movie.
All right, J.J. Abrams. Jesus. Okay.
All right. Let's have.
So yeah, that's one thing. But so yeah, we're gonna spoil stuff. Obviously, the other thing was our friend Dan suggested a couple things. He suggested that we should maybe talk a little bit more at the beginning of the episode, just a general thing, maybe what we've been enjoying, what we've been watching.
I have stuff that I want to talk about.
So what have you been up to these days?
Well, I haven't been up to a lot. Let's see what the last couple movies I watched was. I'll pull out my list because I keep a list of every movie I've watched for the first time. So far I've watched. Whenever the list comes up. Last night I watched, yesterday morning, I watched Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Beginning.
Oh.
That's the only Texas Chainsaw Massacre I hadn't seen yet. It wasn't as terrible as I thought it was going to be, but it was, not good, because, they're just, you didn't care about any of the characters. Leatherface barely kills anybody in the movie, and, it's you know how it's going to end because it's a prequel, so of course the family's going to get away with it. So it just, it doesn't really work.
Right.
After that, have you ever seen a movie called Dead End with Ray Wise?
I think I've heard the title, but no.
Okay, go on Netflix right now.
When did it come out?
It came out, I think it was 2003, and I didn't write down who the directors were. It was a couple French guys. It was their very first movie, and these...
Are these those new French horror people?
It kind of, it's horror psychological thriller. You could tell these guys love Twin Peaks, because it's about a family in a car on their way to grandma's for Christmas Eve, and the dad played by...
Zach Owen, friend Zach Owen recommended this.
Okay, this is actually really funny, because our friend Dan, who showed it to me, he said he watched 200 movies in 1 month, and Zach asked for recommendations, and out of all the movies he recommended, that was the only one he recommended to Zach. So Dan recommended it to Zach, and then Zach recommended it to you. definitely watch it. Like, because the dad is Ray Wise, his wife's name is Laura, and it just has like this weird, crazy
I hope it's not
theme.
too like on the nose. Twin Peaks.
No. It starts off like horror, but then it's pretty much like a black comedy. There's one scene with Ray Wise. I will not spoil anything. It was the funniest thing ever. So you should watch it, and we'll talk about it next time.
Well, I'll get to it.
It's on
I don't
Netflix.
have Netflix anymore.
Oh my god!
I need to get it again.
All right. What else have I watched? Before that, I know it's a little late, but I finally saw Guardians of the Galaxy.
That movie's really fun.
That movie's great. I watched this horror movie that came out. It was made in 2012. It just now came out. My friend Joel highly recommended
Dan
it.
and Joel told me about this.
Okay, this movie called Found. I have mixed feelings on this movie because
They said you hated it.
Okay, here's my feelings. Acting, a lot of the acting is really bad. Like the whole plot is the concept is like really good. It's the main character is a boy who's like he's like in middle school or something. His brother is like older, like maybe an adult but still lives at home. And the boy finds out that his brother is killing people because like every day he sneaks into his room and in the closet is a bowling ball bag with a person's head in it.
Okay.
So, like, the concept there is, like, interesting, but, like, the acting is really bad, especially on the parents. The production quality is really low. Like, I could tell they didn't use external microphones. They did everything in camera.
Oh.
Yeah, it was, like, really rough. They dubbed one scene, and it was so badly dubbed, like, and, there was something else about it. I can't remember. But... Oh, and the dialogue, supposed to be writing for kids, and it was like some of the most non-believable kid writing I've like ever heard. Like at one point, the kid's talking about like his family secrets, and like he's like, Dad has a bunch of magazines like in the garage with a bunch of naked women in it. Like
That's
bet
the big secret.
And he's like, I bet Mom wouldn't be real happy if like she found these. And they were in the most obvious spot in the garage, literally a box on a shelf. Like, and it was just full of Playboys. He didn't call them Playboys. And then in like the next scene, he calls a kid a faggot. It was like, wait, so you don't know what a Playboy is, but you know what a faggot is.
All right.
It was like kind of... They dropped faggot nonstop. I could not believe...
You're dropping it pretty nonstop right now. I know you're quoting.
I'm quoting.
I'm just saying, like...
Yeah, so if you don't like the word faggot, don't watch Found.
Okay, well... moving on.
Okay,
here's...
Oh, and then one other movie I watched, Madhouse with Vincent Price. Have you ever watched that?
I haven't seen that one, no.
It's fun. Not extremely good in my opinion. Peter Cushing's in it.
Okay, yeah, I want to see it.
Okay, alright, moving on.
Alright, so I recently, let's see, have you seen Gone Girl yet?
No, I've heard great things about it.
That movie is, like, really fun. I was surprised by how fun it was. You're obsessed with fun, as we all learned in the last episode. You know, especially movies like Project X, right?
That's 10 out of 10 fun.
Alright.
I was at a party last night.
We're not talking.
Our gauge for the party was if like the city wasn't burned down, it wasn't good. So
okay, well, anyway, Gone Girl is like really intense and like a good thriller, but it's also like really funny, and I think you will like it. I can't really. That's a movie definitely I can't talk about without spoiling it.
Right.
But worth seeing for sure.
I've heard like the girl in the movie's really good.
She's great. Affleck's really good. Tyler Perry, oddly enough, is incredible in the movie. But yeah, that was really good. That's one of the better movies I've seen this year. It's probably my favorite Fincher since The Social Network, which I guess is only one movie ago, so not that long. But,
right.
But regardless, still, oh
wait, Girl with Dragon Tattoo.
Yeah. Well, I didn't like that one that much, but regardless, also, recently I rewatched, have you ever seen The Skulls?
No.
Okay. Now, The Skulls is a movie about a secret society clearly supposed to be the Skull and Bones Society at Yale University.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just called The Skulls, and it's at an unnamed Ivy League school that happens to have a giant Y in their cafeteria. But regardless, it stars Joshua Jackson, who is on Dawson's Creek, which is a great show. And Paul Walker, and it is so fun. Like, I love it so much, and I actually have the Skull series box set, and I've seen the Skulls 2 and 3 when they came out, but I don't remember that well, so I'm going to rewatch those, and I will report back next episode what I thought of those. But the first one holds up so well. It's like the best like camp movie of the 2000s because it takes itself so seriously, but it feels like of its time. I'm fine. Like, we're getting to the point now where movies from that period feel dated, and I'm so happy about it. It's a really entertaining movie. Definitely check it out. It looks like it was made for like TV in like 1996.
Wow, that sounds a lot of fun. I actually had a thing like, it was a couple months ago, but like I haven't talked to anybody about it but my roommate. I watched Anaconda for the first time.
I think I saw that when I was a kid, but I don't remember anything.
Okay, like my
Cube's in it, right?
Yeah, and Jennifer Lopez and
somebody else.
John Voight. Okay.
Okay, well.
This movie, like, if you just watch it, like, as you're watching, like, okay, like, this is a movie, like, a brand new movie, it's positively terrible. Terrible CGI, all the acting's really bad. Mm-hmm. But if you watch the movie as a love letter to, like, say, movies of Creature from the Black Lagoon, kind of monster movies of that kind of era, it's like, I kind of liked the movie. Like, I watched it, absolutely hated it, but then I thought about it, because John Voight's character, he's supposed to be this guy they just picked up, because they're looking for these, they're like a documentary crew, looking for these, like, pygmy people or something like that, and they picked John Voight up, and he's, like, has this weirdo-ass accent, and you could tell he's, like, this weird hunter kind of thing. He's looking for the giant anacondas, and like you could tell he's just bad news. Oh, and what's his face? Eric Stoltz is in it too.
Oh, the legend! Yeah. I have to see it now.
Yeah.
I didn't know he was in it.
Okay, well, if you just watch the movie as if it's supposed to be like a old horror movie, it's actually like pretty fun. There's one scene where they pull up the boat because they have to like get through something. They pull the boat up and there's this waterfall in the background, and when they get the boat free, they cut to that same shot, but they didn't have footage of the boat going backwards, so they reverse the footage, and the waterfall is suddenly shooting up.
That's so cool. That's the way to do it.
And also,
don't do like some lame effect.
Right. And then at the end of the movie, John Voight says something that's so funny. He pours blood, I'll say, on a couple characters, and they're like, "What the fuck is this?" And he goes, "It's monkey blood." Like
John Voight?
Because he has this accent, he's supposed to be foreign, and he's like, "It's monkey blood."
I thought you were doing like a super racist like imitation of Ice Cube.
No. I'm doing an imitation of John Voight
doing a racist accent.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well,
yeah.
Okay, that's interesting.
It's like a really bad accent. Okay.
Then one more thing. Notice there's probably a horror theme here. The movie that we're going to talk about is going to be a horror movie too. There's a big hint for you.
Yeah. All right. One more thing I want to talk about before we
Okay,
get to
well, I wanted to talk about... yesterday, I watched... I've been rewatching movies, and I've watched a lot of Universal horror movies and stuff, but we don't need to talk about those. But what I rewatched yesterday that I hadn't seen in a while, and I don't know what your stance on it is. I know what a lot of my friends' stances are. Have you seen Blair Witch Project in it at all, like in any recent time?
I saw Blair Witch Project when I was when it came out as a kid, on VHS. Like my dad rented it.
Yeah, that's how I saw it, and I had seen it maybe one other time since, and I rewatched it yesterday. And I really like that movie. I know that there's a person in this place that would be furious if you heard that. But we record in our friend's house.
Yeah.
It's but I don't know. I think it's really effective and it works, and it has still easily the best, like one of the best like viral marketing campaigns. Even though it's like the first one, and like I went to the website and was like reading the website. It was super fun, and that movie is like only like 80 minutes long, but it's like really tight and like pretty scary. I think genuinely. So still the best found footage movie, I would say, besides Cannibal Holocaust. But anyway.
All right, okay. Now the final thing, I have not talked to you about this. We discussed it marginally through Facebook.
Okay.
By the time this episode comes out, this will be a couple weeks. But Twin Peaks season 3.
Oh, that's insane!
I can't believe it's happening.
We. Okay, well, yeah. So those who don't know, which is going to be nobody listening to this, but
right.
Twin Peaks is coming back in 2 years.
Yeah, 2016.
Third season, 9 episodes, all written by Mark Frost and David Lynch, and and Big Thing, all
directed by David Lynch,
who hasn't directed anything long form since 2006.
Right, yeah, Inland Empire.
So which I didn't love at the time, but I was less of a Lynch fan when I saw it. So maybe I'd like it.
I mean,
but anyway,
I can't believe it's like actually happening.
I just can't believe it's happening.
Well, just because like it's going to be like 26 years by the time it airs, but they can play it off as 25 because like at the
it's not
because that like it's in the dream scene
in the last episode.
Isn't it the first dream sequence? Dale Cooper has
he's
like the
supposed
older,
to be 25 years older.
25 years older, and then at the end, it's either in the final episode or like, Fire Walk with Me. No, it's not Fire Walk.
It's in the last episode.
It's the last episode
where Laura says,
I'll see you in 25 years. Yeah. So like, I'm like hoping the show opens up with like they refilm it, so it's like actually his age. But if the show opened up like they with the dream sequence,
that wouldn't surprise me. But then again, I'm expecting to be surprised by everything about it.
Right,
So
like
I feel like Cooper could be the only character that's back, or it could have everybody, or
right. Well,
I have no clue.
Lug Lady said she's back.
Oh, did she?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. She asked David Lynch like, "Am I coming back for it?" And all he said was, "Don't be playing in the street." Something along.
My favorite part of it was that the announcement, the way the announcement happened with them on Twitter. And like it was both of them at the same time, the Dear Twitter Friends thing, and people don't realize that Lynch begins every tweet with Dear Twitter Friends. So it's funny to see all these news outlets reporting it and having they're like he's in his typically quirky way. Like it's like no, that's just what he does all the time.
Right. You have to like this.
Frost just had to go along.
This is the guy who did like for a couple of years did the Los Angeles weather through his website.
Yeah.
Like.
I'm excited about it. I think.
And the way he did it was he would sit with his coffee and look out the window.
I saw a lot of hesitance about it from some people because they're like, "Oh, this TV show revival didn't work." Twin Peaks is so different from other TV shows that I'm not even remotely worried about it. Like,
right.
Even if I don't love it as much as the original show, which is quite possible, it will at least be like super interesting, and it won't feel like a waste of time. I don't think because like. A lot of other shows that they bring back like years later, like they're just doing it because the people involved have nothing else to do, basically. And,
right.
Like,
well, they need like an idea.
And like it's not like Lynch needs to do Twin Peaks.
Right. And
like he could get a movie made if he wanted to.
Right. And also like the thing I love about it is like, okay, CBS was the one who created Twin Peaks. It aired on ABC, but CBS owned Showtime. So that's why it's probably going to be on Showtime.
And I guess the guy that the second in command at Showtime was the executive in charge of production at ABC when the original show was on.
Well, like the thing about this is like they're definitely not like I can see this being like the first episode's probably going to be a huge hit for ratings, but like I can definitely see this being like this is for the fans. Like completely for fans.
Well, they're re-airing the whole show on Showtime as an event leading up to it.
Oh, okay. Well,
and so I think they're trying to hook new people that way.
Yeah.
And
well,
I mean, also the show's gotten a huge new audience over the last couple of years.
Because of Netflix,
anyway. Netflix and the new Blu-ray and everything, which is great, by the way.
I
don't know why you don't have it.
I've been wanting.
It's really expensive.
Well, it's only $90.
Yeah, I still think that's kind of expensive for 30 episodes.
True. Well, I mean, but
it's incredible though. I haven't watched The Missing Pieces yet because I'm doing a rewatch on the show.
Oh, okay.
And I'm kind of going through it kind of slowly.
Yeah,
because I just rewatched it a couple years ago.
Because I've wanted to rewatch when they made the announcement. I was like, I have to watch Twin Peaks right now, but like I refuse to watch it until I get that box set.
You're gonna try? Yeah, it looks incredible. The Blu-ray transfer is great.
And also, I want to see they transferred all the Lug Lady intros too.
Yeah, they still look
like
less
shit.
Good, but they look better than they used to. Anyway, we should probably move on from this segment. Not a bad idea. Maybe we can start shrinking it down. Maybe just pick one thing we want to talk about. Yeah, but we'll see how it plays. Anyway, so we're moving on to the movie for this week, and I'm supposed to give you clues.
Right. All right.
Now the movie's a horror movie,
right? And you've already mentioned it's 70 minutes.
All right. Here's my official clues. One of its stars is a white person.
Is that the whole clue?
That's one.
Wow.
Making
it so easy.
Second clue, its producer not its director, its producer, is a very famous producer.
Wow, who could that be? Well,
all right, let's work this through.
Okay, well, I'm hoping, I know it's not. I'm hoping the producer is Rick McCallum.
Wow. Okay.
No, I'm joking.
Move on.
Since I know how much you love him.
Abort the joke. Abort it.
You didn't even respond to that joke.
I mean, Rick McCallum, for those who don't know, produced the Star Wars prequels and the Star Wars Special Edition, and I blame him mostly for why they're bad.
All right. I guess I'll take a stab at this. Cat people.
What? I don't even... How did you know that? That is actually the movie we're watching.
Oh, shit, really?
Like, yeah, no, seriously, it is the movie we're watching.
Wow, I can't believe it.
How did you know?
Well, I mean, the white person totally gave it away. The white male definitely has to be Simon. So, Simone Simon.
That's a woman.
Okay, edit this part out. All right.
No.
Because you're taking away from the effect. Oh, well, that's definitely... A white person definitely has to be Kent Smith, and the producer, of course...
Look at the top of the DVD.
It's not on the top of the DVD.
Yes, it is.
Oh, okay. Val Luton.
Yes,
okay.
Val Luton. We'll talk more about him a little bit
Okay.
during the discussion.
Okay, what happened was we were at Wendy's.
And I let it slip by accident, and I ruined the second episode. Already this happened. I expect this will happen again in the future if it already happened this early.
You know where we have to put you, Tim? In the vault.
Oh, I'm going into the vault. All right, we're going to watch Cat People. Come back for the discussion.
Across the centuries comes this exciting story of a modern girl cursed by an ancient legend. The legend of the cat. Women whose kiss means death, whose love turns them into vicious, snarling beasts of prey.
Twice I've been followed by something that was not human, something that attempted to take my life. I believe that was the cat form of Verena.
Why should she wish to harm you?
Because I'm in love with her husband. It's shut now. Just a minute ago it was open.
It's locked. Leave us, Verena.
All right, we're
Welcome
back.
We watched Cat People, directed by Jacques Tourneur. I'm terrible with French, even though I took French in high school.
Oh my god.
But whatever. And it's produced by Val Luton. It's Val Luton's first horror production, which led to a great legacy of horror movies, including like The Leopard Man and Isle of the Dead and a couple other ones, but and the sequel to this movie. I chose it because it's a movie I really like, which is usually why I choose this. I thought it would be. I'm not sure. Like you've seen enough classic horror stuff, but there's a lot like of really obvious stuff you haven't seen, and I'd consider this one of the more obvious like non-monster movies. Like you haven't seen Frankenstein, right?
Right. I've seen basically all.
That's crazy.
I've seen The Mummy, I've seen Dracula, I've seen Creature from the Black Lagoon, but I have not seen Frankenstein for some reason.
Have you seen The Wolfman?
Oh, I've seen Wolfman too.
Okay, wow. Well, you need to. Have you seen Bride of Frankenstein?
Oh. No, I haven't seen any of the.
I'm just wondering. Wow, Frankenstein's like the best one. But anyway, that's not the subject. Maybe one day that will
another episode.
Maybe that'll be another episode. But Cat People, though, is unlike the monster movies. Not unlike, but it's very. It's almost a domestic drama, as well as being a horror movie, and but I think has some of the best tension building sequences in any movie ever. But before I get too deep into this, what were your general thoughts on the movie?
It was good.
Okay.
I kind of want to. All right,
right.
let's talk about this.
Okay.
All right. When did you first see this movie? Let's hear your history.
A few years ago,
years.
at some point, I borrowed this Val Lewton box set this DVD came from our friend Landa, who was on the last episode, and I watched all of them. And I had always wanted to see this movie, and I saw it, and I thought it was great, and I watched it again yesterday.
Okay. Yeah.
So
I like movies like really well done, like all the shots and everything, all the just from technical standpoint, movies like really well done. I'm just not sure like I'm as in love with it as you.
Okay. Can you give me some reasons as to why you might not be?
I don't like it. Just like it didn't grab me. Like first off, the dude is like the biggest idiot ever. Like
Wow.
he does so many weird things. Well, first off, I knew something was off about this guy when he brought a kitten to work in a shoebox and shoved it in the shoebox all day long. Like kittens have to, use
Okay,
the
well,
bathroom.
let's back up a little bit.
Like-
Back up a little bit. Let's just, because apparently people listen to the show without having seen the movie sometimes. Let's just explain
All
the
right.
basic plot of the movie. The movie is about this man, Oliver Reed. He romances this foreign woman,
From Serbia.
Irena, from Serbia. And she has this fear of if she gets close to someone, kisses him, she will turn into a cat and maul him, basically. She thinks there's an evil inside of her. But they get married, and it's basically, I think the movie is the arc of a failed marriage.
Well,
and that's what I find interesting about it, because I think, despite the very obvious reason why the marriage fails, I think
no kissing, no sex.
Well, of
they
course.
sleep in separate beds.
all right,
like-
there's a thing called subtext, and I think what the movie is. I think what's interesting about the movie is that really it's about a man, Oliver, who wants to discredit his wife at every turn. Obviously, it seems ridiculous, but you have to give in to this for this to work. But that's what causes the end of their marriage, and you find out that basically he's just in love with this other woman, and he never wanted to.
his coworker. He's in love with his coworker. Well,
Yeah.
actually,
I said his other woman.
Well,
Should still describe
with his
marriage.
coworker, and like,
Okay.
dude is just like completely just like he's as unaware as of his surroundings as possible, because he's like, oh man, he like confides in his coworker nonstop,
Right.
and he's like, what's his wife's name?
Irena.
Okay, he's like, oh, me and Irena are having some issues, and she's like, oh, besides the fact that you don't kiss and not have sex, and yet you two are married?
Right.
And then,
I think you're just being a little too like unwilling to accept the basic premise of the movie here.
well, no. But then, like, okay, so then his coworker, like, he's going on, like, he doesn't say that, of course, but he's like, he basically says, I'm not happy, and it's like, even you were laughing at this scene because he's like, my whole life
That's
I've been
supposed
happy.
to be funny. Yeah, it's not like there's no humor in the movie. Like, no, he's definitely an idiot. The movie portrays him as a total idiot.
Yeah, he says
it's not like the movie is unaware that he's dumb.
He's as stupid as possible.
Yeah.
And then, like,
he's a dumb
and then-
idiot asshole.
Yeah, and then as soon as his coworker he confides in his coworker, she confesses her love for him, and she's like, "We'll run away together." She's literally throwing herself on top of him.
You are just
she's throwing herself on top of him, and he's like, "Well, I'm still worried about Irena." And then he walks her halfway home, and at the end of like the walk, they handshake. Like,
right.
Dude's an idiot.
Oh my god. Okay. You're just completely unwilling to give in to older styles of storytelling, and you're just judging the movie based on modern.
No.
More...
Like, I get it. Like, dude is like
Okay.
a straight gentleman, but like,
I'm not saying the movie is not naturalistic. It's not.
Well, duh, she turns into a cat.
Yeah. Does she? I mean, like,
questionable.
Yeah, which is what's interesting about the movie. I think there's a couple of core themes here. One is definitely, the dangers of fervent belief in things you were taught as a child.
Okay.
That's one obvious one. That's right up there at the surface. But then I think the other big one is that what I alluded to earlier, where Oliver basically, despite the fact that she is the initial cause of the problem within the marriage, he makes it worse by essentially just basically telling her she's an idiot the whole time and having no empathy for her. And the movie is also just, he's like such an asshole through the whole movie. But I like the movies, a lot of movies from this period, this 1943, are completely unwilling to have just total, just like especially genre movies like this, they'll have like a very obvious hero and then a very obvious villain. And this movie, like, the villain, who is Irena, is obviously delusional, or maybe not, but like, she obviously does bad things. But then he is like such an asshole and like doesn't believe anything she says, and then is immediately just looking like elsewhere for his, So I think that I think the dynamic there is interesting.
She sounded crazy from the beginning.
Well,
How to turn into a cat? Like, of course the dude's going to deny that.
Yeah,
like,
I'm not saying. Yes, I agree that in any actual real situation he would deny that. But the movie is clearly about, I think, is about the way that in this time.
Okay.
Pre, second wave feminism, you have women housewives who would then, this is like right at the beginning of psychiatry, which plays a big role in the movie too, which is they would be driven to these psychiatrists and they wouldn't know what was wrong, and what was wrong was that their husbands are don't believe anything they say and don't take them seriously at all, and don't take anything they say seriously. And obviously you can't take, the things that Irena says seriously in the movie because it's a genre construct meant to comment on a real thing. It's subtext. It's not a naturalistic real movie that, is about, is where what you see is what it's about.
I can see all that.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just saying, these are the things I find interesting about the movie, and I was just, how do you,
I just, I can see all that, yeah, and I see what you're saying, but, just overall, I don't know, I just didn't enjoy the movie as much. I think this is the same thing, see, you like to look into movies, more into, the deeper meaning, but, I like to do that, but I have to, enjoy the movie first. And this is the same issue me and you had with This Is the End, Edgar Wright's last movie.
You mean The World's End? The
World's End. Oh yeah, This Is the End is a fucking masterpiece.
Oh, I love both those movies. We're not arguing about which is better.
Okay. but I didn't care for the movie, and you fucking ranked it way too high on your top movies for the year.
It's one of my favorite movies of the last 5 years. Yeah.
Didn't you rank it above This Is the End?
Yeah.
That's not true. This Is the End is the funniest movie of probably this decade.
I agree that it's funnier.
But, there's a movie...
Okay, I love that movie.
Right.
Nobody's saying...
But
just because I like another movie more...
But Admiral Then was not as good!
Well, okay.
Okay, wait, okay. Alright.
I can see what you mean. Alright. Obviously, you need to enjoy something on
in order
the surface
to care about
at
it.
First.
You're right.
Yes, I agree. However, personally, for me, it's not. This isn't something I do after the fact. I think about the themes of a movie. That's an active part of my brain while watching a movie or reading a book or looking at a painting or anything. Like, that's part of how I enjoy things. So yes, when I watched The World's End, which I don't think has much subtle thematic material in it, it's very much on the same.
Yeah.
Yes, I found it an extremely emotional experience. In this movie, I don't necessarily find it emotional. I just find it very interesting and clever and gives me a lot to think about, while also being a masterpiece of suspense, like, in which we haven't really talked that much about. But like, I know you acknowledged the technical greatness of the movie right at the top, but I think that does need to be discussed at least somewhat, and you need to at least give some, specific props, because this is already.
It should be noted, Tim calls this an absolute masterpiece of suspense. I got up and took a piss 6 minutes before the end of the movie.
I can't believe we haven't already mentioned that. I feel like, yeah, you said all you needed to say right there. Oh, God.
Hang on, wait. We did not watch this movie alone. Our friend Brook White was in the room, and since me and Tim are as going back and forth, Brook, get over here.
Alright.
Oh, boy. I wasn't expecting this to
Alright,
happen.
well, I want this to happen.
Why are you pulling me in?
I'm bringing you in here, because you watched the movie too, okay?
Yeah.
And he's seen it before.
Yeah.
Okay, so you had seen it before. What are your opinions of the movie?
I like it a lot. I think it, I agree with Tim for the most part. I think that, like, what he says, what makes it pretty interesting and stand out amongst a lot of horror films at the time. And
There you go. 2 against 1. Thank you for validating me.
Damn. I guess I wasn't watching Brooke when the movie was on.
Yeah, he's seen it before. He definitely likes it. Okay, well, let's talk about. There's 2 sequences I want to talk about.
Hey, stick around. Come on.
Yeah, he could. Okay,
can
everybody,
chime in
welcome
here.
Brooke. He will probably be on the show a few more times here or there. So, I mean, if he wants to be.
He's going to.
I don't know if, like, anyway, a couple sequences I think that, regardless of what you think of the rest of the movie, you have to at least, like, just be amazed by these sequences. Okay, the scene where Arena is following Alice, the woman that Oliver works with, before she gets on the bus.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah, because one thing that stands out in my mind was the sound of the shoes. Each one had each woman had their own sound of their shoes. And the way it was paced, you heard what's her face's shoes, and then you heard Arena's shoes, and then there was sometimes the girl would walk by, and then Arena would walk by, and then there was the one moment where you heard the lady co-worker's shoes, and then you were expecting to hear Arena's shoes, and they never came.
Right.
So there was a silence there, and that's
then
when
the bus comes in.
And it was actually at that moment
right.
that she started to get scared, and then the bus came in, and the bus they had to have layered a sound. It was literally like a fucking tiger's roar.
You mean what was that cat? Like a panther?
Panther.
Yeah, panther.
And also and they kept cutting up to this shot where she was looking up in the trees. She would look up, and then they cut to a shot of these trees. And when that tiger roar happened, I was just convinced a fucking gigantic cat was about to pounce down directly on top of her. But that didn't happen. A bus pulled up instead, which is just as scary.
Yeah, and then the other sequence, I think, is an obvious one. The swimming pool sequence is one of the best scenes in any horror movie, I think. The lighting on this pool, and the reflection of the pool on the ceiling, and the way, every moment it cuts is just what? Is something gonna happen? No, and then the way it ends, where Arena turns on the light, you're just oh, damn. And she just is what's wrong, Alice? That is the
You
that
scared,
is
bitch?
chilling. That is so good.
I
and then she's like, I didn't see you and Oliver because they were coming home from the museum, and it's just oh, we waited for you. And then she's just I suggest you go home, and she's like, I think I will. Oh, that is hard.
Well, it was short and but I really like the dream scene. Like I thought the effects in that were like really cool.
Yeah, with
like
the animation,
cats,
animated cats.
Yeah.
And then like when it has like the King John, who's like like behind the legend that she believes. Like when he comes in with the sword and then it turns into a key. That's so good. Yeah, that's a great dream sequence.
Yeah, it is a really good dream sequence. Better than fucking episode 3's dream sequence, but
random Star Wars
well,
reference.
That's like,
expect these, I guess.
Like we've never ever had a dream sequence in Star Wars before, and like all of a sudden, well, first off, that it was at that moment we believed that was the very last Star Wars we would ever see, and like it's just like, George, why did you put a dream sequence in this?
I don't mind that dream sequence.
All it is like fuzzy lights around Padme's face.
I'm not saying it's
and
great.
She's crying.
It's just I don't see how it's like the worst thing in the movie or anything.
It just like we've never ever had a dream sequence before. You're literally a dream sequence. You're in a person's mind, like you're in their psyche, and Star Wars has never broken into somebody's fucking mind before like that.
Yes, that's true.
From a certain point, like it's essentially like a POV shot,
right?
Like, and we never ever had that before. So stylistically, it does not fit in at all into the saga.
I agree.
Which is why I'm not like a lot of people are questioning this rumor that there's a flashback in episode 7.
Okay, well, okay, Dabeedo. This is like even crazier than your Project X reach last week. I mean, don't be wrong, I love Star Wars, and we could talk about that sequence, but I don't know. It seems like a weird thing to bring up. Although I guess there are some visual motifs that are similar. The overlay, these dream sequences are both done with overlaying images instead of cutting to
right.
Like
well, I'm saying
I like the dream.
I like the dream sequence at Cat People. It was really good. I hate the dream sequence in episode 3.
I know. I just don't see how they're particularly related.
I don't even remember how I connected them just now, but
it has to be the way the images overlay over the sleeping head, because that's how they're framed in a similar way.
It could be,
but the actual images.
Wait, did I say that like it was way better than the dream? That's how I connected it. I was like,
well, yes, I agree that it's better than the dream sequence in Revenge of the Sith.
That's how I got on a tangent about it. I want people to know my feelings on the fucking dream sequence in episode 3.
Well, now we know.
Dabeedo is straight scum.
Thanks, bro.
Thank you.
You've had so much to offer.
I know.
You're the one who drafted him
I know.
in the middle of our conversation.
I figured he'd make it interesting. Like...
Oh, I have.
Oh, God. All right.
I forgot you were there.
Okay, so what do you think of the performances? The lead who plays Irena is Simone Simon, one of the greatest names ever. I just love that. She gives a really great performance. I think she goes from very sympathetic to just cold, in a really interesting way. And what I like about Kent Smith, who plays Oliver, is he's so clueless. I don't...
Motherfuckers. I was actually kind of pissed about that kitten. Like him shoving that kitten continuously in that box.
Well, he couldn't let it roam around work.
That's how
they had a fucking cat in the office that just roamed around.
But you don't want to that cat might beat the other cat up. Get hurt.
That's also how he was sold the kitten. It's not like
that's how he got
it. So okay. So instead of going to the pet store, which is we find out later is open at least till dinner time, instead of going to the pet store after work, he decides to go in the morning before work and have this fucking kitten in a shoebox all day.
Well.
Kitten pops his head out of the shoebox and he's fucking throws his hand on top of that fucking box, shoves that kitten back down into the box.
He let the cat out and play for a little bit.
Yeah, the woman hold him. She's like, oh, he's so adorable, and he took the cat back, put it right back in the box.
Yeah.
Dude's fucking
he's a terrible person.
He's not a good guy.
He's supposed to be a bad person.
Sucks.
You'll learn more about that in your homework, since you're going to have to do this. Fuck you. Anyway. Also, the lighting in this movie, and this actually transfers all the way through all the Val Lewton movies. And I think you'd like some of the other ones, maybe a little bit more. There's a great one called Isle of the Dead, which I wish I had to give you for homework, with Boris Karloff, that is really just chilling. But yeah, just I think it's obviously very high contrast lighting, like a lot of horror movies at that time. But I think this movie just has more variety of lighting while still being visually coherent and cohesive than most of those movies. Because a lot of those movies, there'll be like a very big standout sequence. But this movie, all the way through, is able to find different ways to emphasize the right things.
Yeah, there's a lot of like the lighting stuff that stands out in my mind is like, well, there's the scene at the zoo at the very beginning,
Right.
which like that's daylight, but immediately afterwards when they're at her apartment, like it's all in silhouette. Like it was like, oh, okay, that's interesting.
Also, I know you're going to bring this up.
Oh wait,
zoo.
Let me finish talking about lighting. Then we'll talk about the zoo. Then whenever they were in the office, the use of the light table was always nice.
Right.
There's
that. I'm really interested in how light tables are used in movies as lighting in the 3 or 4 movies I've seen with them.
Yeah.
There's the Spike Lee movie, Jungle Fever. The main character, played by Wesley Snipes, is an architect, and he falls in love with this woman at work, this white woman at work. It's similar things actually in how the light tables are used as a romantic and also kind of like trepidatious, ominous thing. So anyway,
yeah. Well, the light table was really like it was really well used in the the scene where like the fucking cat comes in and they're like in the corner. You can't see her behind him, but like the way his face is like completely lit. And then there was the silhouette of him grabbing the like T-square off the wall, and it looks like a cross.
right?
So he's like, "Be gone, Satan," or whatever he said.
And then a great sequence is where the psychiatrist at the end.
Oh yeah, the shadow
is fighting with maybe Irena as the cat, and maybe just a cat that she.
There's also like some other things like right after the scene in the office, they come out into the hallway, and in the hallway, like on the wall, there's a light shining through windows, and the way that the window panes are, it almost like seems like a series of webs. Have you ever noticed that?
Yeah, that was good.
Right, yeah. So it's like, oh, look, we're in this tangled cat's web or whatever. But
cat's web.
Well, she's not a spider; she's a fucking cat.
Man, I was at your apartment, and your roommate's cats were just like spinning webs everywhere, and I was just like, "What? All these webs in my face?"
Oh, well, cats that just shit out webs. Dabeedo, I need to go to church.
What?
I don't know where I'm going with that. I'm
Yeah, clearly. Okay, so back to the zoo. It should be noted that not anymore, but our very own Tim May was once a janitor at the local zoo.
He was a maintenance man.
Now, I didn't clean inside
the animals.
The animals' spaces.
Okay, but Tim was very well known for singing while he was at work.
I was not well known for that at all.
And he actually said,
"You literally never visited me at work."
I fucking knew people were posting nonstop on the Erie Zoo Facebook. Like that one janitor is always singing. Like, and it
definitely.
This
is an amazing construct.
But the dude in the movie is singing a song. He's like, nothing to do. But Tim sang that same exact song. But since Tim is,
if I had remembered it when I was working,
Tim being such a funny guy, he changed it to nothing to zoo, and he was just spouting zoo puns.
I think we all found out that Dabeedo is the really funny guy.
Dabeedo is literally the lamest when it comes to any joke.
Yeah.
Dabeedo it's like he already has 3 children and is trying to make them laugh all the time. Like he's telling pure dad jokes constantly.
You know what I found out? I don't know why I had this thought, but our friend Lando the other day, it was actually 2 nights ago, he forced us to watch Super Hornio Brothers 2, a Super Mario Brothers porn parody starring Ron Jeremy. And at one point there's this it's basically Tron meets Mario, like Mario and Luigi, who are known as Hornio and Squeegee.
Oh god.
Squeegee being the Mario character played by Ron Jeremy, he creates this crazy computer world in which they get sucked into it, and he meets this dude named Virus, who is like this real sleazy looking guy. He's like, his nose is always runny, and like he made like an ex-wife joke, and it was at that moment I was like, you know what? Ex-wife humor has to be like the lowest form of comedy ever.
Yeah, it's probably true. Yeah. I'm glad you just realized this.
I will, like, just nobody ever mentions it, like, and people are always like, oh, my ex-wife, like...
What does this have to do with anything?
Well, why...
Because I mentioned, like, his dad humor?
Yeah, well, how low my comedy standards are.
Are you anticipating that by him bringing up dad humor, are you, like, signifying that you anticipate you're going to get divorced at some point?
No. I'm just saying, like...
Oh, man.
No, I'm not even married.
Are you planning on getting married
like
soon?
You're bridging a gap between dad humor and ex-wife humor, and it's connecting it
I'm
to
just
you.
saying, ex-wife humor is just such a low form of comedy.
Well,
like, knock-knock jokes are funnier than ex-wife humor.
Well...
They can be. Like, they're both pretty low, but, like...
Okay, well, I'm glad...
Because, like, ex-wife jokes, like, seem like just such an obvious stab. Like, oh, my ex-wife. Well, clearly if she's your ex-wife, you found something terrible about her. So, like, we know, like, you know... Get what I'm saying?
I get what you mean.
Okay.
I hope your bae isn't listening to this.
Oh,
That's all
God.
I can say.
Oh, my God.
Alright, Dabeedo... Yeah, okay. That was an interesting discussion of cat people.
Is it where you wanted it to go?
I mean, I was not expecting you to not like it, but...
I don't hate the movie.
Yeah, I know you don't hate it. So
I don't love it.
It should be also called out that Dabeedo doesn't always have the best opinion of horror. If it's not a fun slasher, he probably doesn't like it.
That's not entirely true.
That's most of the time.
That's not true. One of my favorite horror movies is The Fly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Both of them. I love both of like the
Okay,
original and
okay.
like the remake. Like so.
Well, yeah, I'm not... Nobody's saying anything about you.
I said something.
He
Well,
just
I'm not.
So I'm fucking defending myself against Brooke.
I can see where Brooke's coming from, though. Your horror taste does trend very recent. And by recent, I mean, like, post-Texas Chainsaw, basically.
Yeah.
Post Night of the Living Dead might be more fair.
No, it's more post Texas Chainsaw, I'd say.
Are you dissing Night of the Living Dead?
No, I'm not dissing Night of the Living Dead. It's just my taste is definitely post Chainsaw.
Black and white, I'm not interested.
No.
That's
No, that's not Dabeedo.
That's
He's not a total cretin.
Did I ever tell you about that time my apartment? I had an apartment a couple years ago with like 4 people, and like my one roommate had like friends over from Cleveland.
I remember.
Yeah, and I had a poster on the wall of Clerks signed by Brian O'Halloran, and she like saw it. This girl who was like visiting, I never met her before, and she was just like, "Oh, Clerks! We were gonna watch that the other day, but I couldn't watch it because it's black and white."
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
And I literally, I didn't say a word. I stormed off and went to my room. And like, my roommate literally said to me, he was like, "I can't believe you embarrassed me like that." I was like, I can't believe you're not embarrassed to be hanging out with those people. Like,
Oh God!
I mean,
I see both sides of that. That is definitely a social faux pas you committed right there. I agree that not watching a movie because it's in black and white is dumb.
Yeah,
right.
That was probably an overreaction on your part, though.
For a person you've never met and have no emotional interest in.
I don't care. Like, I don't want to be associated with you. Like, I have no connection to you. I have like
I know
like
whose guest it was. You never would have seen that person again ever.
Yeah.
Right. But
so
like,
I don't.
The fact that I decided to walk off, just walk out, like, and not do anything else, like, that should have been just like, okay, like, I get it. I never have to see that person again.
No,
I'm
like. I see where you were coming from, but I can also see why it would be upsetting to your roommate.
I get it. I came off as a massive dick by doing that, but I could have also just fought her. Like, I could have just, like, pointed out exactly why she just, like, is terrible.
That probably would have been worse, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I said to my roommate. I'm like, would you much rather had me get in an argument with her, or would you just walk away? Like...
Yeah, well...
I don't like people like that, but, I mean, that doesn't really make it right. You could have just ignored it and toughed it out like a regular person.
Right, and then bitched about it to us.
Yeah.
Like...
Well, I did bitch about it to you guys.
Yeah,
but...
we still
exactly, you would have been able to get that out if you wanted to.
This is why Dabeedo has about 5 friends.
But it's... Let's see. You two, Lando, Joel, okay, 6 or 7. Okay, you're worried about that.
Alright, well, okay. What?
I don't know.
Alright. But what we were trying to say is Dabeedo does like black and white movies. I'm just saying
my taste
to not...
Yeah, my
like,
taste in horror is definitely, like, post-Chainsaw.
Which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that.
And the Saw trilogy is a highlight in his mind.
Yeah, he thinks
No.
the Saw... he thinks the first 3 Saw movies make a great trilogy.
Okay, here's my opinion. Okay, Saw 1 is legitimately a masterpiece.
It's a good movie.
It's good. It's
Yeah.
not a masterpiece.
It's a masterpiece.
It's good.
Movie just, like, completely, like, set a whole new trend in, like, horror.
And then Saw 2 raises the bar.
Well, no.
Raises the bar.
Saw 2 does not raise the bar. See, the beauty of Saw 1 is that Saw 1 isn't necessarily... Like, we get it. There's a ton of gore. There's a ton of, like you know, horror and special effects in it. But deep down in the core of the movie, it's like a psychological piece.
Right, it is.
Right.
Yeah.
None of the sequels have that.
Correct.
All of the sequels became the torture gore aspect of it. Now, second one, don't really love the second one. I don't think it's like kind of a lame follow-up to the first one. Third one, I feel, is better than 2, and like, if just from a story standpoint, since, you know, it's all interconnected and all over the place, I feel like it's
one of the most convoluted mythologies.
It's one of the most fucked up, like, movie, like, mythologies ever. 3 is a good ending to it because Jigsaw dies in the fucking third one.
Right.
You know what actually the best ending to like the Saw franchise is?
What?
The first movie.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Now we're off Saw. Saw's done. No more Saw discussion.
The rest are legitimately terrible. So.
Okay, well, at least you can admit that. Anyway, so that's what's getting back to the point you were trying to make for 20 minutes. Your taste in horror trends last like 30, 40 years.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's fine. So I'm just curious, like, what's your favorite, say, pre-Romero horror movie?
Pre-Romero, well, probably say The Fly.
Okay.
Yeah, I really like The Fly.
The remake is a lot better.
Well, I agree the remake is a lot better, but, like, it's just like a...
It's a good movie, but I think there's a lot better monster movies of the same type from the same period.
Could be, but I probably just haven't seen them, so that's why we have this podcast. Huh?
Yeah, no,
the Corman
I'm
Poe
getting more
great.
I haven't seen that.
Hammer movies. A lot of great stuff.
I actually think The Thing from Another World is better, too. We're talking about movies that were later remade.
You know what? A movie I really... Well, you know what? I really enjoyed... I mean, we're going to the Universal stuff, but I really liked Creature from the Black Lagoon.
I like that movie a lot, too. Do you like that better than, like, any of the other Universals you saw?
Well, I like The Invisible Man a lot, too.
Yeah. Actually, that's one I haven't seen. So
Invisible Man is
that's actually
really
the
good.
next one on my list because I'm going through the Universal.
Now that I think of it, like those are definitely both better than The Fly. I guess I wasn't thinking there, but I can't decide which one I like better: Invisible Man or Creature from the Black Lagoon.
You don't like you like Creature better than Wolfman?
Wolfman's great.
Yes.
Okay. Well, anyway, that explains some things. Well, cat people, I guess we're going to get into homework here. This is going to be some miserable homework for you since you hated cat people so much.
I did not hate cat
Your homework is the sequel that came out a year later, Curse of the Cat People.
Like this every sequel did about that time.
Yeah, this is actually like a real sequel. It actually follows the same characters. Which,
oh, wow.
And it's like, it takes place like 5 or 6 years later. and it's not directed by Jacques Tourneur, or I hate myself for not knowing how to pronounce that.
Cultured motherfucker.
Oh, okay. I'll go have dinner with your parents tonight.
My parents are the worst.
Okay, it's actually the first movie. It's co-directed by Robert Wise, who went on to do Day the Earth Stood Still and West Side Story. And have you seen West Side Story?
Yes.
Okay. What do you think of West Side Story?
West Side Story is a lot of fun. Good movie.
Yeah, it's a great movie. Yeah. And he also, of course, Star Trek the Motion Picture.
Oh, damn. It should be noted, I skipped Motion Picture and watched Wrath of Khan.
Totally reasonable. I'm not even going to give you shit about
it.
Yeah. Although, maybe watch it if you ever actually get into Star Trek beyond the movies.
Right.
But regardless, yeah, and Val Lewton went on and produced a lot more really good horror movies. Yeah, I would recommend, I don't have it, so I can't lend it to you, but I would recommend Isle of the Dead and The Leopard Man, but especially Isle of the Dead. That one I was very impressed by that one. I remember. There were other ones I liked too, but that one and Cat People were my favorites. But Curse of the Cat People, I actually just saw for the first time this morning, because I was watching it, because I knew I was going to lend you this DVD. And so I was like, well, I better see that, before we discuss it in the homework segment in a couple episodes. And I was very impressed by it. I thought it was not as good as the first one, so maybe you'll hate it. But yeah, I thought it was not as good as the first one, but not that far off. It kind of continues the thematic material, but it's a very different feeling movie, so you might like it more. I don't know. It's an interesting film.
I assume this movie was like a pretty big success when it came out.
Oh yeah, it's a big deal. It's a hugely influential movie as well. It was actually remade, speaking of 80s remakes of classic horror movies, it was remade in 1981 by Paul Schrader. And that's supposed to be great. I haven't seen that, so...
we should both watch that and talk about that.
I'd be down, yeah. You should watch Curse, and then I'll watch that too. Yeah, and that one, the only things I really know about it are, I love Paul Schrader.
And that Bowie song.
The Bowie song. Cat People, Putting Out Fire is...
I want to see, I want to watch that, and then we should see what movie uses it better, because that was in Inglourious Bastards, remember?
Yeah. Oh, that's maybe my favorite use of music Tarantino has done post,
Yeah, that's really, he uses it really well in that movie, too.
Great. I'm guessing that uses it better, because I wouldn't be surprised if this is just an end credits song. But maybe I'm wrong. Yeah, I do want to watch that, and I've been meaning to get into more of Schrader's directorial work anyway, because I'm mostly just familiar with him from his Scorsese screenplays. So that's your homework, and you also have a reprieve. Next episode,
we do the Beatles. The homework.
Yeah, next episode we will be discussing the homework from the last episode.
Head and listening to 2 Beatles.
I gave you 3.
Okay.
I told you to listen to 3, and I gave you a bunch of CDs that were completely unmarked, so you probably have no idea what's on.
Right, exactly.
And I don't even know if they're all in those CDs. So you can, but it's the Beatles. You can download them. So you need to listen to Beatles for Sale, Revolver, and Abbey Road.
Okay.
This is super pleasant listening. You will enjoy it. You'll enjoy it, and we can talk about it. Write down some highlight tracks.
Right.
We'll talk about that, and then we'll maybe each choose one movie or TV show we've been watching in the time being. And a format is taking shape, but I don't want it to be a too strict a format either.
Right. So, you should, along with watching the remake of Cat People, which we'll talk about on the episode after the next. Yeah,
episode 4. 2 episodes.
You should. I really want you to watch Dead End.
Okay.
That Ray Wise movie.
You said it's on Netflix?
It's on Netflix. I mean, It doesn't seem like the movie was popular at all, but from just a smart movie in terms of black comedy, I thought the movie was just super, super fun. And people who are listening, if you're looking for something on Netflix to watch, definitely pop that in. It's just quick. It's I think it's 80 minutes, but it's just a lot of fun. And if you love Twin Peaks, you'll love this movie, because Ray Wise is the king.
And like I mentioned at the beginning of the show, I recommend highly The Skulls, directed by Rob Cohen, director of Fast and the Furious, Triple X, Stealth.
Damn!
Yes!
Damn!
Yes! Anyway, I love The Skulls. It's a terrible movie, but I love it. So yeah, I also recommend if you haven't seen it and you for some reason listen to this, watch Cat People. It's a great movie, and even if you're like Dabeedo and you don't appreciate it,
Right. Share your comments on the Facebook.
yeah, share your comments on Facebook. Email us at missingreelspodcast@gmail.com.
Damn.
And I promise you we're going to try to get the show up on iTunes by the time this episode's out. If not this episode, then certainly by the third episode. So it'll be easier for you to access the show. And but for now, yeah, if you're watching this on YouTube, comment on it. And please share the Facebook page with your friends. All that crap.
Right.
Just you know, we're not expecting a huge audience right off the bat, but we would like some more people to listen. So if you enjoy what you're hearing, recommend it to people. People don't even have to like movies. I think us bickering is kind of entertaining.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, I think so. I don't know. But I mean, and you know, if you have a friend who you're like, damn, why doesn't he watch movies? Have them play along.
Right.
Like,
There
you know,
go.
they can be your Dabeedo. And you can be like, okay, well, the next episode's going to be, I'll tell you later. But, like,
I'll be in the vault.
yeah, Dabeedo's going to go in the vault. I had some time in the vault earlier for letting this title slip. I mean, I've fully embraced the idea of the vault. I don't know if you've noticed this. You remember last time I was very anti-vault, but I'm okay with it.
He likes the vault.
I'm down with the vault. And maybe I'll hang out in the vault with Dabeedo.
We can make it cozy, you know,
Yeah.
like... Before we know it, we'll be watching movies in the vault. Like...
Right, yeah. That's like... Okay.
All right, let's close this out. I think we should... So people get to know us a little better. We'll make it a little personal. All right.
Okay.
Give me one of your life goals. Like, it could be absolutely
Oh,
anything.
God.
Absolutely anything. Completely fantasy. But just so we make it intimate. What's one of your life goals, Tim?
I would like... if we want... Okay, we'll make it really intimate.
Okay.
It'd be nice to have 1 or 2 kids and have a nice family.
Wow.
There you go.
That's nice. I never knew that about you, Tim. I never...
It's not something I need in the next couple of years, but it's something I'd like at some point.
That was very interesting, Brooke. I know me and Brooke are like thinking of you with children right now and are laughing so hard.
Literally, yeah. I knew you weren't against it, but wow. Oh boy.
It's not like I'm desperate or anything, Jesus.
Who's gonna be the lucky lady? We'll find out someday.
Right, and we're gonna be in the wedding. I can't wait for that.
Dabeedo is the
Dabeedo will be like the fucking
Dabeedo
drunk cousin.
Well, we
drunk
don't.
best
No,
man
we're gonna be
who loses the ring.
groomsmen. His brother's gonna be the best man. We know that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. So Brooke, well, since you're here, since people have forgotten
God.
you're here, what's one of your life goals?
I don't know. I'd like to do something with movies in general. Doesn't matter what, you know.
Okay.
Maybe acting or something. I don't know, but probably never happen. I'll die a painful
You can do
death.
it. You can do it.
You've already been involved in movies.
Yeah, but
Right.
I mean, like, something...
As an actor, I think Brooke could just be like...
I think Brooke's a genuinely like charismatic, interesting screen presence.
Well, thank
Right.
you. I
You
appreciate
guys should all
that.
check out. Well, I'll tell you later.
Yeah.
Yeah, talk about it later.
Well, now I'm going to completely break the mood. But one of my life goals, and this is kind of, I don't know, like, kind of, it's a little bit of a stretch.
Okay.
But, like, and this is kind of related to what we've been talking about, but I would really love to take Ray Wise out to dinner. Like, just
Make some documentary
just because
that you need
Ray
like to have an interview with him, and then
because he'll do any movie, I enjoyed his work so much in Twin Peaks, and I just enjoy Ray Wise overall that I would just like to take him
he's
out.
in your favorite movie of all time, RoboCop.
Right?
Is that your favorite movie?
It's one of my top.
We
Definitely.
haven't really talked about our favorite movies.
We'll do that next time.
Next time we'll talk about that.
But I would really love to just take him out to do a very nice dinner and say, you know what, I appreciate your work.
That's nice. So there's a lot of people I'd have that about.
Right.
If I don't know how interested I am in necessarily pursuing a route that would allow me to do that.
Well, I'm not going to go out of my way to be fucking emailing Ray Wise constantly, tweeting at him and be like, let me take you
It's
out to
always
dinner.
hilarious if you follow any celebrity on Twitter, like check out the replies to anything they tweet, and there's always like some people just like, why won't you talk to me?
Yeah, I know.
And like, who are these people, and like, what do they do, like for a living?
Basically, I just like, if I'm ever in a situation where I've met him, we've talked, we get along real good, I just would be like, Ray, can I take you out to dinner?
Well, I thought that was very genuine on all of our parts.
Yes, it was.
That was nice. So, hey everybody, thank you for listening.
Right.
We have
Thank you,
Brooke. Brooke, our brief guest.
Yeah.
Dabeedo tried to stab me in the back, but it backfired completely.
Maybe if I am on again, I'll be more talkative.
Well, he'll be more prepared.
Yeah,
because we'll know what the movie is. We'll figure it out.
Well, I guess I'm gonna go sit in the vault.
Yeah, Dabeedo, get in the vault.
Get in the vault.
Don't tickle me.
All right. See you in a couple weeks. Come back next time on Missing Reels when the movie we will be discussing is Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. Have a good couple weeks.